Silence. It's in the silence that you hear it most clearly, not a sound, but a presence, an absence that has weight, that has teeth. You stare at the glowing rectangle in your hand, a universe of connection that delivers, to you, only a void. You read the last message for the 17th time, 3 dots that never appeared, a ha-ha that felt like a verdict. This is the modern agony. It is not the clean pain of a broken bone or the sharp grief of a final loss. It is a slow, psychic hypothermia, a chilling of the soul. You feel yourself being edited out of a narrative you thought was mutual. You are being ghosted, not by a person, but by a potential future. And in that void, your mind, that magnificent and catastrophic organ, begins its work. It constructs cathedrals of explanation. You are replaying every word, every glance, every micro-expression, mining them for the ore of why. Was it something you said? Something you didn't say? Are you not enough? Too much? You are performing an autopsy on a relationship that may never have lived, and you are finding, with the certainty of a paranoid surgeon, that you are the cause of death. This pain is particular. It carries a unique humiliation. It feels like a public failure performed in the most private of theaters. You have revealed your hand, shown your need, and the universe, in the form of her indifference, has declared that need illegitimate. You offered a part of your kingdom, and it was returned to you, unopened. And why does it cripple you? Because you have committed the fundamental error of the modern man. You have confused attachment with meaning. You have anchored your sense of worth, your very identity as a man who can navigate the world, to the approval of a single other consciousness. Her attention became your validation. Her withdrawal becomes your annihilation. This is not love. This is addiction. You are a meaning junkie, and she was your dealer, and now she has cut off your supply. We label this romantic despair. We dress it in songs and films. This is a lie. It is a failure of ontology, a failure in your mode of being. You have outsourced the most fundamental responsibility, the valuation of your own existence, and you are shocked when the agent you hired fails you. In this lecture, we will not offer bandages for this wound. We will perform a dissection. We will follow the nerve of this pain down through the soft tissue of modern psychology to the hardened bone of evolutionary strategy and into the marrow of ancient philosophical truth. We will expose the biological machinery grinding beneath your heartache, reveal the societal hall of mirrors that amplifies it into insanity, and forge from that brutal clarity a weapon of unshakable sovereignty. The thesis is this: your suffering is a signal of a hierarchy, not a hierarchy of men, but a hierarchy of understanding. You are lost in the basement of your own psyche, begging for light from a window you do not own. We are going to reclaim the architecture. To understand the storm, you must first understand the climate that breeds it. We must travel back to a world without phones, without cities, without the luxury of abstract despair. Picture the savannah, the Pleistocene epoch. The world is not a place of psychological nuance. It is a spreadsheet of survival, calories in, calories out, danger managed, or death. In this world, romance is a catastrophic liability. Mating is a strategic alliance for genetic eternity. Here, the biological imperatives diverge, not out of malice, but out of brutal mathematical necessity. They are the foundational algorithms of our being, written in the cold code of DNA. For the man, the equation was stark. Your value was extrinsic and conditional. You began as potential energy. To convert that into the kinetic force of a viable mate, you had to transform yourself into a utility. You were not born with worth. You built it, often from the dirt. This meant competence. Can you hunt? Can you track? Can you predict the weather? Can you build a shelter that will not collapse? Failure is not disappointment. It is starvation, exposure, death. Resource acquisition. Can you bring in more than you consume? Can you secure surplus? Can you defend that surplus against rivals, human and animal? Your body is a tool, and your mind is a strategist for the tool. Hierarchical navigation. Can you understand your place in the male dominance hierarchy? Can you form alliances? Can you assert yourself without provoking catastrophic conflict? Status was not vanity, it was a visible indicator of your ability to impose order on chaos. Your ancestors were judged every day by a tribunal of reality. The tribe, the hunt, the elements, all delivered immediate, unforgiving feedback. A woman's selection was the ultimate, most intimate form of this feedback. It was a verdict on your entire operational capacity. Rejection was not a matter of chemistry. It was a biological audit concluding your resources, your stability, your genetic offering are currently insufficient for the risk I must undertake. Your pain, therefore, has ancient roots. It is the echo of that tribal verdict. Your psyche, evolved for that world, interprets modern rejection with the same catastrophic weight. You are insufficient. You will not survive. You will not propagate. It triggers not just sadness, but a deep primal shame, the shame of the failed provider. Now see it from the other side of the evolutionary ledger. For the woman, the cost of a poor selection was astronomically higher. A man's investment could be, at its biological base, a single act. A woman's investment is 9 months of gestation, a perilous birth, and years of intensive nurturing where her own survival is critically compromised. She is the bottleneck resource. Her choice is the most important decision in the natural world. Hence, hypergamy. Not a moral failing, but the pinnacle of biological prudence. The imperative is to select the best available mate, not just a mate, the best one she can attract and secure. This best is a composite index, genetic fitness, signs of health, symmetry, vigor, the raw material for resilient offspring, resource potential/status, proof of the ability to provide, not just now, but into an uncertain future. In a tribal context, this meant social standing, skill, and the respect of other men. Willingness to provide. Does he share? Is he reliable, or will he take his resources elsewhere? Emotional stability and predictability. Is he a source of protection or a source of danger? Can he regulate his own impulses? A volatile mate is a direct threat to her and her child's survival. This is a slow, multi-stage vetting process. It is a relentless, subconscious due diligence. She is testing for consistency, for congruence between word and deed, for strength that does not tip into tyranny, for confidence that is not fragile arrogance. This is the crucial point. Her process is about her optimization, not your annihilation. When she withdraws, it is not a statement on your absolute human worth. It is a calculation. Given my current position, my options, and my assessment of the future, this particular configuration of traits and potentials does not meet my threshold for the immense risk I would be taking. You have been measured against an ancient, invisible standard and found, in this specific context, to be a suboptimal allocation of her most precious resource, her reproductive capacity and time. This is the dance, the man broadcasting his proof of utility, the woman conducting a silent, severe audit. In the ancestral environment, this dance had clarity, the hierarchy was visible, the proof was tangible, the feedback was immediate. You built a better spear, you gained status. You failed to provide, you faced consequences. The agony you feel today is the ghost of that ancient system, haunting a world where all the signals are scrambled. The dance floor has been replaced by a carnival funhouse. We now take these Pleistocene psyches, these savannah supercomputers running survival software, and we drop them into the 21st century. This is the great mismatch. This is the source of the pandemic of anxiety, despair, and confused longing. The village is gone. In its place is the global digital metropolis, a realm of infinite optionality and curated perception. The biological imperatives have not vanished, they have been disconnected from tangible reality and plugged into a nightmarish circuit of illusion and amplification. Trap 1. Your domain of proof was once in the physical world, your strength, your craftsmanship, your leadership in a crisis. Now it has been abstracted and commodified. Dating apps are the most blatant example, a catalog of human beings reduced to a few images and a paragraph, where you swipe to accept or reject a person's entire existential offering in less than a second. This is not human connection. It is a parody of the selection process, sped up to a rate that bypasses all cognition and targets the most primitive reward centers. You are no longer being assessed by one person in a shared context. You are being subconsciously ranked against 10,000 other faces in her phone. The male imperative to prove yourself becomes a desperate game of crafting the perfect profile, saying the perfect line, a performance for a phantom audience. You are proving yourself to an algorithm, not to reality. And in this marketplace, attention is the currency, and everyone is bankrupt. Trap 2. In the tribe, status was earned through observable action. Now, status is largely signaled through consumption and association. Social media transforms the male display of competence into a display of aesthetics, curated experiences, strategic affiliations, the appearance of success. The woman's selective faculty, designed to assess real utility, is bombarded with signals of faux utility. The man with the best Instagram facade may have the interior life of a frightened child, but the ancient circuitry struggles to tell the difference. This creates a hall of mirrors. Men are chasing the image of what they think will trigger selection, not building the substance that would justify it. Women are sorting through a gallery of images, trying to discern the real from the manufactured, a task our psychology is not evolved to perform at this scale. The result is mutual disillusionment. She feels all the options are hollow, he feels all his efforts are futile. Trap 3. In the village, potential had a short timeline. You were a hunter, or you were not. You were a competent craftsman, or you were not. Now, potential is an endless, nebulous future. A woman's hypergamous instinct to select for resource potential is left dangling in a void of perpetual tomorrows. She may see a man with some traits she admires, but the modern world offers no clear timeline for his realization. Is he a future king or a permanent prince? The ambiguity is torturous. This often manifests as chronic dissatisfaction, a feeling that something better must be just over the next digital horizon. For the man, this means his proof is never complete. There is no final hunt, no spear good enough to end the quest. You must prove yourself incessantly, in an arena where the goalposts are always moving. It is a recipe for burnout and existential fatigue. Trap 4. The shadow archetype of the Saviour. This is the darkest psychological trap. Having externalized your source of meaning, you now cast the woman in the role of the Saviour. Carl Jung warned of this. The anima, the inner feminine principle, when not integrated, is projected outward onto a real woman. You do not see her as a flawed, complex human with her own burdens. You see her as the solution to your emptiness, the answer to your aimlessness, the one who will bring meaning to your chaos. This is a crushing, inhuman burden to place on another. No human can be your redeemer. When she inevitably fails, because she is human, you don't see a person failing a task. You experience it as the universe itself denying you salvation. Your despair then turns to resentment. You were supposed to save me, and you didn't. This resentment is the poison that turns heartache into hatred and love into a prison. Trap 5. Modernity, in its well-intentioned but naive drive for comfort and equality, has often pathologized the very struggles that forge a man into a viable utility. The concept of a sacred, difficult, hierarchical journey toward competence is mocked. The necessity of facing chaos, bearing responsibility, and accepting pain as a transformative agent is dismissed as toxic. But you cannot circumvent the biological imperative. The need to prove yourself in a domain of real-world competence is hardwired. If society denies you a positive, structured path for this proof, a craft, a mission, a true hierarchy to climb, you will seek perverted forms of it. You will prove yourself through nihilism, through destruction, or through a desperate fawning need for validation that repels the very selectivity you hoped to attract. You are stuck in the carnival funhouse. The biological signals are screaming, but they're pointing in 100 directions at once. The reflection you see is distorted. The path out is hidden behind flashing lights and laughing masks. This is the modern condition. Absolute connection, absolute isolation. Infinite choice, zero clarity. So here is the red pill, served cold and without apology. The truth that dissolves the funhouse and places your feet on bedrock, however hard it may be. The dark truth. Her actions, her choices, her attention or lack thereof, they are data, not about your soul, but about her own navigation through the same carnival. They are information about her psychology, her own unresolved burdens, her assessment of her survival and thriving in this distorted world. To make her the central character in the story of your worth is to remain forever a supporting actor in someone else's drama. It is a profound abdication of your own authorship. The Stoics, those unflinching surgeons of the soul, had a term, the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to you, your perceptions, your judgments, your actions, your character. Most things are not up to you, the actions of others, the past, reputation, outcomes. You have been trying to control what is not yours to control, her mind, her feelings, her choice. And you have neglected the only thing you have absolute dominion over, the fortress of your own self. The solution is not to become heartless, to win, or to manipulate the game. The solution is to transcend the game entirely, to move your source of meaning from the fickle external marketplace to the sovereign internal kingdom. This is not a 5-step program. It is a fundamental reconstitution of your being. It is alchemy, transforming the base lead of your pain into the gold of purpose. Phase 1. Your first act is not pursuit, but acceptance. Amor, Fati. You must look at this pain, this rejection, this silence, and you must say, this too is part of my fate. This is the friction that will shape me. Every great myth involves a descent into the underworld. This is yours. Stop trying to escape it. Sit with the silence. Let the cold stone in your gut just be there. Do not numb it with distraction, with rage, with another desperate connection. Examine it. This pain is a ruthless but honest professor. What is it teaching you? It is teaching you that your current mode of being is fragile, that your foundation is sand. Good. Now you know. Phase 2. You must have a project so important to you that the opinion of any single person becomes a meteorological event, noticeable perhaps, but irrelevant to the continental drift of your life. Your biological imperative to prove must be redirected. Stop proving yourself to her. Start proving yourself to reality. This means selecting a domain, a craft, a skill, a mission, something that exists independently of the mating game. It could be your body, forging it into something capable and resilient. It could be your mind, filling it with wisdom and skill. It could be your work, building something of genuine value. It must be difficult. It must have a hierarchy of competence. You must be able to fail at it and learn. This project becomes your new tribe, your new hunt. The feedback you crave will now come from the material world as you shape it, a well-made thing, a problem solved, a strength gained. This feedback is real, slow, and trustworthy. It builds an internal scorecard. You are no longer waiting for a text. You are waiting to see if the wood joints you cut will hold. This is the sacred struggle modernity tried to erase. You must resurrect it for yourself. Phase 3. That part of you that is needy, validation-seeking, weak, and desperate, that is your shadow. Carl Jung said, "I would rather be whole than good." You have tried to be good by hiding this shadow, by pretending it doesn't exist, but it runs the show from the basement. It is why you fawn, you panic, you orbit. Do not destroy the shadow. You cannot. Integrate it. Make it work for you. That anxious energy is raw life force. Channel it into the discipline of your project. That fear of being not enough can be the engine for becoming more. That need for connection can be sublimated into a deeper connection with your own purpose. You look the shadow in the eye, and you say, "You are afraid. I hear you. Now, pick up that weight, write that page, practice that skill. We are building something, and your energy is required." Phase 4. When you have begun this work, a miracle occurs. You can finally see her as a human being, not as a savior, not as a validator, not as a prize, and not as a villain. A flawed, complex human carrying her own shadow, navigating her own biological imperatives in the same carnival. You release her from the archetypal role you forced her to play. From this place, interaction becomes clean. You are no longer a beggar hoping for alms. You are a sovereign entity, offering connection from a place of surplus, not deficit. You can be generous because you are not empty. You can be attentive because you are not desperate. You can walk away not as a punishment, but as a simple statement of boundary. My mission lies this way. This is true, unshakable strength. It is magnetic not because you try to be, but because you are rooted in something deeper than the need to attract. The final truth. That cold stone of agony in your gut, the one you've been trying to dissolve, to vomit out, to wish away. That stone is the cornerstone of your new fortress. Nothing she does will ever hurt you again, not because you have erected walls of cynicism, but because you have built a citadel of meaning so vast that the comings and goings at the gate are merely part of the landscape. Your worth is an internal artifact, constructed daily by your own hands, judged by your own standards, in service to your own daemon. You will have moved from the psychology of the slave, who asks, "What must I do to please you?" to the psychology of the king, who asks, "What must I build to honor my destiny?" The silence is no longer a void. It is the space in which your own purpose echoes back to you. The phone is no longer an altar. It is a tool. Her choice is no longer a verdict. It is a single data point in the long campaign of your life. You are not the boy waiting by the phone. You are the man who built the tower from which the phone is but a small, insignificant device. The weather changes, the tower stands. Now, go build your tower.